Miami in recent years, last 6 or 7 years, early in the season, he's trying to figure out what he needs to do to lead a group of guys to the promised land, because he's in the finals every year. So he always figures it out. But early on, sometimes we'll see, remember back in the day, the Heat don't have a great record. The Cavs don't have a great record because he's figuring it out. He needs to know who I can rely on, like who can LeBron rely on? What positions does he need to put them in so if they fail at one thing, they can succeed at another? And he usually takes it's an incubation period, basically, with LeBron. I think we're also seeing that. There's some fatigue, yes. You're right, some guys need a little more effort would be nice. But really, it's AD's not there, and Schroeder's not there, and LeBron's trying to figure the rest of these guys out. And they're on the road. They ran into a buzzsaw. Stephen A., they get a pass from me.
Like I said, I'm never going to give anybody pass when I'm questioning your effort. When I'm questioning your effort, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, see, offense is about skill. It's not just about effort. It's about talent/skill. That's what it's about. Defense primarily is about effort, particularly now. If Donovan Mitchell had exploded for 50 points, Max Kellerman, we have a different discussion here. He's just a stud, and there's nothing you can do about it. But he's got 18. Mike Conley's got 16 to 18. Bogdanovich got 15. You know what I'm saying? They hit about 23 threes. And, just spreading the ball around, people wide open, standing in the corner, taking pictures, calling their girls before they take a three-point shot and what have you. It's like, damn, where you at? Did you even show up to Utah? Did you not know this was going to be a primetime game? Nationally televised. You didn't know? You didn't see it coming? You got to show up. Got to show up.
And Stephen A., I'm looking at this Jazz. I'm looking at the Jazz schedule right now. Let me just reel off some of the names, because the only team they lost to recently were the Clippers, and that was the Clippers at full force for the first time in forever, right? Okay, and that was a close game after they'd beaten the Clippers. So the Jazz beat the Celtics, beat the Bucks, beat the Heat, who are resurgent right now, beat the Sixers, the best team in the East,
lost to
beat the Clippers before they lost to them, and they beat them by a wider margin than they lost to them, destroyed the Hornets, and then just destroyed the Lakers. In other words, this is a ridiculously hot team. You said it yourself. 53s in 2 games. This didn't all come against the Lakers. They just ran into a buzzsaw at the worst possible time.
All right, so let's go there, because the Jazz are the best team in the NBA right now, according to their record. They've won 22 of their last 24. Max, do you believe that they're the best team in the NBA at this moment?
Right now, yes, they're the best team in the NBA, and they're playing the best basketball. They've replaced the Lakers since AD went down. Remember, not that long ago, I kept saying it. The Lakers are the only team in the league absolutely elite on offense and defense. You heard Stephen A. just now. They ain't elite on defense right now, let alone on offense. You know who they've been replaced by? The Utah Jazz. Top 5 offensive and defensive efficiency. No one else in the NBA is. Now, Markieff Morris is right. Playoffs are a different story. You want to ask me if they beat a full-strength Lakers in the playoffs? Maybe, but I favor the Lakers. A full-strength Clippers in the playoffs? Maybe. A full-strength Nets in the finals? Different story. Sixers? I don't know. But I can tell you this. Right now, Stephen A., the comparisons to the apt, they're right. When I look at the construction of this team, look at the roster, Stephen A. Not only are they playing crazy, unselfish basketball, moving the ball, passing up good shots for great ones. Look at the roster construction. Remember how I always talk about, and you say, yup, Larry Brown used to say that Chris Paul must be Larry Brown's fantasy of a perfect point guard, right? Conley is some version of that. Right? He's kind of the perfect point guard. Donovan Mitchell is a star who, under pressure, is a superstar. And Joe Ingles was starting for them not all that long ago, and he is a good offensive player who's versatile on offense and a good enough defensive player. But he's been swapped out for Royce O'Neal. And on this version of the Jazz. And Royce O'Neal is the opposite. He's a good offensive player. He can hit shots. He's a willing passer who's a great, versatile defensive player, right? So everywhere you look, you got a guy, yup, I want that guy. Bogdanovich, obviously, on offense. And then Gobert is a useful offensive player who's a great defensive player. That's just the starting 5. Look at the veterans they have coming off their bench now. I mentioned Ingles. Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson has entered his prime now. He always had promise. He was aggressive, but he was like a good player on bad teams. And obviously a guy like that wants to start and be a star. He's 28 years old. His skills are as complete as they're ever going to be, it seems to me, in terms of also his physical prime. And the dude has accepted that as a sixth man, with the knowledge he now has, he's shooting 8-9 threes a game and hitting like 40% of them. Stephen A., guys like that off the bench, this team is an extremely well-coached team and a well-oiled machine on both sides of the floor. They're the best team right now.
That's what I was actually waiting for you to get to that last part, because that is the part. And I just want to throw off some names because I've never done this in the history of First Take. I've never done this. I want to read off the names of Utah's coaching staff. Alex Jensen, Mike Wells, Lamar Skeeter, Vince LaGarza, Sergey Oliva. Dell Demps, the former GM in New Orleans, is now an assistant coach with Utah. And Keyon Dooling, just a certified life coach. This brother is a special brother, really, really good brother, got a great head on his shoulders and really does a lot of stuff. Just getting guys mentally prepared to perform. Keyon Dooling was one of those dudes with the NBPA and all of that stuff. He's a special person. Got a lot of love and respect for him. And it's great that they have him on their staff as well, because he can help any staff in the NBA. And all of this is led by head coach Quinn Snyder, who was a college coach. I just want to make sure that I state this for the record. This man is an exceptional coach, and their staff is doing an exceptional job. This might be the best staff in basketball, because every single player, tell me one player that looks worse since it's under their stewardship. One player. There's no one that looks worse. Everybody looks better. And that's what you're seeing here. I'm looking at a guy like Royce O'Neal. Why does he matter? Because he's a perimeter defender. You got Rudy Gobert. He's an elite defender, the post two-time defensive player of the year. Probably going to win it again this year. I mean, the dude is formidable. So you got defense on the perimeter. You got defense in the interior. And as a result of that, they're going to create their own opportunities because they're limiting you to one shot. They're forcing turnovers. They're never shy with effort. Ever. We're talking about the Lakers. We're talking about Boston and others. Effort. We never say that about Utah. Effort, effort, effort. And so we know we got Donovan Mitchell. We know what a stud he is. We know what Mike Conley can do. But Mike Conley's been a veteran. We were talking about him potentially retiring. This brother looks great. He looks better than he did last year. He looked bad
last year.
He looks better than he did last year. He looks better. You don't see that usually with veterans. I mean, you can literally, he was so bad last year, you can make an argument Mike Conley comeback player of the year. I mean, that's how good he looks right now. Okay? So I'm looking at all of these things.
Doubt.
And I just want to take a moment before I say what I'm going to say to give the Utah Jazz coaching staff a hell of a lot of love, because they really, really deserve it. Having said that, I still don't give a damn. I ain't jumping off the Brooklyn bandwagon yet. When I sit up there and I look at last night, for example, and I see how the Lakers had no answer, let's just say that is the least of my concerns when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets offense. I ain't worried about them. I ain't worried about them offensively. You might try to outscore them. You're going to have to figure out something. Let's see what Royce O'Neal does when Kyrie is on the perimeter, or James Harden. Let's see what Rudy Gobert does when Kevin Durant is on the perimeter somewhere. Because you got to remember, Brooklyn don't have to play around with Utah in the interior. Brooklyn can sit up there and shoot you out of the gym without even sniffing in Rudy Gobert's direction. And DeAndre
yeah, but Utah
Jordan
can too.
And by the way, with DeAndre Jordan's age-old self, the brother still got hops. He's got size on him. He's got strength. You can't just push him around. And Rudy Gobert, it wouldn't be that easy for Rudy Gobert to go against him. I'm just saying, as great as the Jazz look, and they look phenomenal, I'm still not willing to say they look better than the Brooklyn Nets right now.
This is what I'll say, Stephen
All right.
A. The fact is, the Nets have KD coming back.
Yes.
They're doing this without Kevin Durant.
Correct.
So obviously, we say right now, because if they're doing this without KD, ain't going to be no Jazz better than the Nets when KD gets back.
Well, I'm glad
But
you know.
Right
you didn't sound
now,
like you knew.
Right now, the Jazz are the best team in the league. Right now, the Jazz are the best team in the league. By the way, and Gobert